What's going on, guys? Thank you for tuning in to the BS show. I don't know if you guys seen on Instagram or ESPN a few days ago, but Allen Iverson, also known as the Answer, one of the greatest point guards of all time, really the guy who kind of let the small guys feel like they had a chance to play in the NBA. He put down his all-time starting five. And I don't know if you guys got to see the all-time starting five, but it had Steph Curry as his point guard, Michael Jordan as the 2, Kobe as the 3, LeBron as the 4, and then Shaq as the 5. And to be completely honest with you, I can't really argue that much with his all-time starting five. You know, it's a very, very talented group of guys. Steph Curry can shoot. Michael Jordan's the GOAT. Kobe's amazing. LeBron's amazing. And Shaq, you know, might be the most dominant center of the common era for NBA. But, you know, one thing with this whole all-time starting five and the GOAT conversation, you know, some things that always get left out about these topics is the time in which guys played in. You know, the 3 ball now is so prevalent. Everybody can shoot the 3 from your 1s all the way down to your 5s. Everyone can shoot the 3. And that's how a lot of NBA players are being molded. You know, they want their big men to be able to do a pick and roll and roll out to the three-point line and hit that three-point shot. And that's fine. I'm not saying that there's anything against that. But you rewind as little as 15 years ago, the center and the power forward position, everyone had a role to play, and that's what made the NBA so fun was, you know, your point guard was initially your distributor, your shooting guard was normally the best shooter on the team, you know, and then your center was the big, powerful, tall, big guy to get rebounds and post up, and it's kind of went away with that now. Now, really, if you're 7 foot or if you're, you know, 5'10", you can do about the same thing. The only difference might be is your ball handling might be a little bit better if you're the point guard, which it should be. So, you know, a few changes that I would make to the all-time starting five, and, you know, I like old school basketball better than the new school. I think three-point shots are really exciting and it's fun to watch and they score a lot of points. But my changes that I would make is I would put Magic Johnson at my number 1. I think he is, you know, the best point guard in the history of the NBA. You know, if you want a guy with great decision-making skills, a guy that can defend, he's tall, he's long. Magic Johnson's 6'9", you know, so he's a big point guard. He creates a matchup problem. You know, the only knock on Magic Johnson is he's not a great outside shooter. But once again, that goes back to what I said earlier with, you know, the game has changed to where everyone's a three-point shooter. When Magic Johnson played, not everyone was a three-point shooter, you know. So that's the number 1 thing I would change. Obviously, Michael Jordan is my 2. My 3 would be Larry Legend, you know, Larry Bird. This guy was a stud, you know, in the 80s when he played. He was also, you know, a 6'9", amazing passer, which not a lot of people seen at that time because he could also step out and hit the 3 ball. And he was a great shooter. He was a great passer. You know, Larry Bird was, you know, one of the best three-point shooters of the 80s, if not all time. He just didn't shoot as many threes as what they do now. So I would put Larry Bird, you know, at my 3. And then the other change I would make, my number 4 would be Tim Duncan. You know, he is what a true power forward, in my opinion, should look like. You know, he's tall. He can block shots. He's kind of like the glue that holds the team together. You know, he's a winner. He can get you 18 to 20 a game, but he can also get you 10 to 15 rebounds, and he can get you 3 to 4 blocks a game. You know, the guy is an animal. He's got 5 rings. And, you know, I think that's what a power forward is supposed to be, a guy that's gritty and defensive and can get rebounds and still score, but find the open man. So, you know, those are the 3 changes I would make. You know, I think that with all these positions in the NBA, you could make different starting fives according to what you're trying to achieve. If you want to be a three-point shooter, if you want to be a defensive team, you know, are you playing ball in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s? There's so many different variables that could go into that. But it's a fun conversation to have. It's a fun thing to talk about. But after looking at, you know, Allen Iverson's all-time starting five, I still think it's a great starting five. There's just a few tweaks I would make. So let me know in the comments below who your starting 5 would be. Who do you think is the best 5 players to ever play in the NBA? I normally try to keep them ranked by position. It makes it a little bit funner to have each position ranked. But let me know who you got in your all-time starting 5 in the comments below. Thank you for tuning in.